everyone, and welcome to Full Disclosure, the new and improved version of LodeStar's podcast. I'm Alayna Gardner, joined with our wonderful CEO, Jim and Alayna, and you're stuck with us for the next 45 minutes as we talk all things LodeStar, mortgage, and we're also joined by our wonderful producer, Tim Austin, who's off camera.
So, for our first segment of the new and improved LodeStar Full Disclosure podcast, we would love to get a mortgage industry vibe check from you, Jim and Alayna. We'll start with what's the vibe in the industry right now in general?
That's a deep breath.
Yeah, it's been an interesting summer. I think there's obviously a lot of pressure on interest rates to go lower. They're at their lowest point of the year right now, so folks are excited about that. I think if you were to ask 20 mortgage professionals what's going to happen next, you get 20 different answers. So I think there's just a lot of holding your breath and waiting to see what's going to happen. Happy for some slight improvements at the moment, and then just waiting to see because there are just a lot of moving parts right now.
Yeah, I think it's tough when, things come through
Yeah.
and then they're held up in court and then
Yeah.
they finally go one way or the other,
Right.
right, in court of, hey, this has been shut down, this
Yeah.
hasn't been shut down. I think it's a lot to
Yeah.
follow, which is in part why we
Yeah.
are actually going to be talking about regulation in our regulation recaps that we're going to shoot separately. So
Yeah.
we'll be focusing mostly on regulations that affect fees and what
Yeah.
LodeStar does, because that is our area of expertise. And we'll have those come out as shorts separately when we see regulations come up that specifically affect what we do here at LodeStar.
And I originally wanted to call the economic session mixed signals, but I got vetoed in that name. But there are a lot of mixed signals right now with, what part of the economy is doing well, what's going to happen with tariffs, what's happening with inventory. A lot of things are kind of conflicting, and it's tough to know what exactly is going to win out.
100%.
One specific question for you both. We're transitioning now from the summer slowdown to the fall market. What do we expect this year? What might be unique about 2025?
One thing that's really interesting is, one of the most recent reports that came out is there are a lot more houses on the market than there should be right now. And there really is seeming to be this flip from a seller's to a buyer's market. I see it in my neighborhood. We have more houses going up that maybe aren't moving as quickly as they used to. And I think that says a lot, right? And you kind of have to see what's happening in those spaces because we used to have this huge inventory shortage. And now I think it's more of a affordable housing / those like entry level homes don't really exist today. So when you put a house up in a higher price range, it doesn't move as quickly.
Yep, and then curious to see what happens now as rates go down, people's spending power goes up. So like we said, a lot of things that can change. I mean, maybe we didn't really see much of a spring market, so maybe it'll be delayed. The fourth quarter is usually a little bit slow, but with rates coming down, it might not be the case. It's like we've said a few times already, it's tough to tell.
I think a lot of people seem to be asking themselves what is going on right now.
Yeah. I would say our volume's pretty steady at the moment. We've seen a slight increase over last month, I would say, company-wide. That's hundreds of thousands of quotes. So, we'll see where that lands in the fall.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We see a lot in at least in our, like where I live is it's up and coming, right? With that in mind, we do see a lot of the houses that are just the exterior, and you really have to ask yourself, okay, so you're listing this at a, higher price point because of the area, but what does the inside look like?
Yeah. And how many people are still willing to buy a house like that?
Yeah. And you used to be able to get that to move.
Yeah.
Didn't matter because someone would come through and gut it. And I think now that's starting to be more of a problem for people that are in those types of homes.
Any final thoughts?
Seeing conference lists for the fall, we are seeing pretty, I would say pretty strong attendance still. With conferences that we've sponsored, we do get some attendee lists early and all of that. So we are expecting, to see a good number of lenders at shows this fall. And with that in mind, you can see LodeStar at TMC in Boston. We will also have MBA Annual is a big show for us as always, as well as Housing Wire's IMB Summit. So we have a few more shows to round out the year that I think will be really good. But it's definitely interesting to see attendee lists come out.
Yep. I would say, too, it's kind of a sweet spot for mortgage companies. If you're still around as a mortgage company, you figured out a way of making money in this market. And often people are either too broke or too busy to make large scale changes to their business. But I feel like folks right now are at this kind of nice Goldilocks in between moment
Mm,
where, okay, I'll switch in LOS because I'm not as busy as I will be, but I need gains in efficiency. So let's do this. Let me switch other things in my software stack. There's a lot of openness to anything that's going to gain efficiency because everyone who's still around has figured out how to stay alive in this market, and they know it's only going to get busier from here. So I would say the openness to changes and the focus on efficiency are two things that we hear again and again and again.
All right, so for our next segment, let's cover the LodeStar update. What is going on at LodeStar? What's new? What's exciting? What's happening?
we're signing clients, getting them live, making them happy.
Yeah, things are going great. We're growing really consistently year over year. We, I think, in 5 months signed as many clients as we did in all of 2024, which was a great accomplishment for
Mhm,
Elena's team as well. Then we're supporting people, bringing them on. Our clients who've been with us for over a year, that revenue's up as well. So a lot of the indicators we're looking at are really good. I often tell people that if the car isn't shaking, you're not going fast enough. I mean, I feel like our car's been shaking pretty thoroughly. So like the second half of the year is
mhm,
really about kind of just hanging on to everything.
mhm.
On a recent meeting, I showed the meme of Vince Vaughn from Old School when he goes still holding when he's doing the rings with a cigarette in his mouth from the
Mm,
end of that movie. I might be dating myself there, but in either case, that's kind of how we're feeling of like, let's
mhm,
hang on to the year that we're having, continue the growth we're having with the clients we're bringing on. There came a point in time where we kind of looked at each other. We're like, we need to like cool it on new initiatives right now. Like we need to just focus on what's in front of
mm,
us. So the gains in efficiency, both from implementing AI, just general structure, has been really helpful.
mhm.
I mentioned our 12-week year before, focusing on our goal setting and driving a lot of change in quarterly goals has been really good as well.
Yeah, and I think, we are definitely changing a few things, right? From the perspective of we'll have had our first ever Settlewise booth. That's happening this week after we record. And I think it's just, seeing that grow has been really beneficial. I think
Mhm.
really focusing
Yeah.
in on Settlewise and the title company has been a huge part of, my year and my team's
Yeah.
year, kind of after we survived the first half of the year kind of a little
Yeah.
bit because, when you sign more clients in 5
Yeah.
months than you did in the previous years a lot.
Yeah.
But, we always kind of see,
Mhm.
at least on the revenue team side, as the year kind of winds down, people are kind of trying to finish the projects they already
Mhm.
have on their
Yeah.
plate. I think it's kind of a natural slowdown. So we're really looking at, starting to plan for
Yeah.
2026. We've got what do we want to do for ICE and NBA
Yeah.
annual and all of that. So we'll have some very exciting stuff
Mhm.
kind of come out at the time. We will
Yeah.
have a party on Sunday night at NBA Annual.
Mhm.
So the link will be somewhere around this video. Tim will put it somewhere for me. And it's going to be called The Industry. So we made a decision this year to actually streamline it. We've changed the party name to match the city for the last couple of years.
Mhm.
And we really wanted to make it feel continuous
Mhm.
and to be able to take it from city to city. So we'll refresh the brand every year to reflect the city that we're in. But really, we wanted to bring together the housing industry. So it's actually the logo is a little house.
Mhm.
It says the industry on it. And I think that's, it's really saying all together we make the housing industry work.
Mhm.
So that'll be at MBA Annual on Sunday night. We're really excited. We've got some great sponsors, and we're looking forward to having a fun time.
Yep. Speaking of colorful logos and year over year revenue growth, is there anything specific related to that you wanted to share?
Yes. So it was recently announced, but we're going to get another one of these Inc. 5000 awards to match. We won for the third time in the last 4 years,
Mhm,
which was exciting. All about any time we win an award, quite frankly. But the Inc. 5000 is one of my favorites because it is completely quantitative. All they do is look at your revenue growth, and that's it.
mhm.
So it's incredibly objective in that regard, and that's what I really like about it. So it's a great honor to continue to do it because once you grow, it's hard to keep growing. You have to add that much more revenue to continue to grow. So we're really excited to add it for a third year. And fingers crossed. I think this means we'll probably be able to add a fourth one next year. I didn't think we were going to get it this year too,
Mhm.
so it was unexpected. We did, I gotta say, squeeze in just in the back there, but that's okay. It's
I mean, to be
still count.
fair, you thought we were gonna be 4,999, and
Yeah.
we are higher than that on the
Or
list.
was it 849er? Last
Something
five
like
of them
that.
said, "Hey, one of the few mortgage folks to do it." I mean, we're in an industry that's very cyclical, so when the mortgage rates are low, you see a lot of mortgage industry folks on there. So we're kind of defying gravity a little bit. I put a lot of wicked memes on our company calls as well because of
Mhm,
that. So excited that we can kind of swim against the current here, and it's really a hard one. Award for everyone because we're not only bringing clients on, but we're setting them up, billing them, getting paid, doing all of the things as a business to continue being here. And that's really exciting to see.
mhm,
All right. So recently, ICE announced that they will be delaying the sunset of the SDK platform until the end of 2026. How do we anticipate that affecting our clients who are Encompass users?
For our clients, no real effect. We had most
mhm.
switched over. We were ready for it. I'm a little disappointed, but I was like that nerd growing up that if there was a quiz that day and the teacher said, no, we're not going to have a quiz, I'd be annoyed. Because I studied, I was ready. Like, let's just take the quiz. Let's get it over with.
Yeah,
Like that was very much my mindset. Most people hated that. We
yeah.
were ready. It was fine. But I actually think there's a little bit of misinformation about this opinion. I
Mhm,
know a lot is getting thrown on mortgage vendors not being prepared, and that very well could have been the case.
mhm,
We would have been happy to go and gunning ahead of some of the other folks out there. But I think that you look in the tech stacks of these lenders, there's so much homegrown technology,
mhm.
so many plugins, it gets so complicated. If I were a betting man, which I am, I would think a lot of this pressure came from lender clients who had a lot of kind of a rat's nest of tools to pick apart. And I don't think that that narrative is being explained as much as I think it has to do with the ultimate reason.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is definitely something that a lot of people saw coming.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone was super shocked because one, they
Yeah.
pushed it when it first came out, right?
Yeah.
And then, everyone was kind of expecting another
Yeah.
push. I'm a little surprised by the length it was pushed.
Yeah.
So it feels like maybe there are some key vendors
Yeah.
that gave that deadline. Maybe that's the reason. We will never know, right? And I
Yeah.
think it is what it is.
Yep.
But I think the biggest thing is here at LodeStar, we are ready. The majority of our clients are
Yeah.
on EPC. They're using it today.
So one of the other things in our preparation for EPC is our free tool, LodeStar Discovery, is on
Mhm,
EPC. So if you're EPC curious or trying to move stuff over or just want to see all of the new features we have by switching from SDK to EPC, get set up on our website. You can go in, no charge to get
mhm,
set up. We have thousands of quotes a month going through that system, and it's been really popular and a great tool for us to kind of support those smaller folks as you're kind of figuring out your workflow and getting started.
mhm. Yeah. And it's nice and easy to find if you go to our pricing page under Encompass and price and discovery. You can just fill out a form. You give us your Encompass ID and you can be set up in a couple of days.
Are we ready for Jim's book club?
Let's do it. Jim has a book. Jim, what's your book?
So my book is The 12-Week Year by Brian P. Moran. I read this book about a year ago. These aren't all going to be recent reads, but these are going to be books that I have found impactful either personally or professionally. Um, really, really love this book. I forgot where I heard about it, but basically, it says here, get more done in 12 weeks than others do in 12 months. So it's all about goal setting. And instead of doing annual goals or even every 6-month goals like we used to, the book basically says quarterly goals, 12 weeks, break them down. So that means every week becomes a month and every day becomes a week or either way. So like you're tracking something every day, right? That
Yes.
you're doing towards that. So I have been given feedback at the company that I need to cool it with implementing things from books. So I did not wholeheartedly implement this at the company, but what it does,
Mhm,
I've used it to great success personally with kind of fitness and weight loss, and really enjoyed kind of the ability to kind of drive change in that period. I'm on my fourth 12-week year right
Great.
now.
You've
Um,
done it for almost a full year.
yeah, I have.
That's how you
And
know it's
the
impactful.
change that we made LodeStar wise is we did shift to the 12-week goal setting time frame.
Mhm,
That was the major tweak from this book. And I feel like that has helped us a lot because we're able to change goals faster because, quite frankly, if you have annual or 6-month goals, all too often something changes in that time frame. And just with the pace of change in the industry, the amount of growth we're having, I have felt that us being able to have quarterly goals and communicate them to the whole company has allowed us to get our together, quite frankly, and be like a lot more organized. I'm impressed at what your
Mhm,
department's done, what
mhm.
every department is doing every month, every quarter, talking about them. So this is one that I recommend a lot for goal setting, and it's been really impactful both with me personally and kind of how we go about goal setting here at LodeStar.
Yeah. No, I would agree. And I think in the essence of full disclosure, I need to share a brief story about Jim's books habits. The reason he said I had to cool my jets with books is there was a brief period of time
Yeah,
that was maybe like 3 months, 4 months in span that I think I received like somewhere between 6 and 10 books from you.
it might have been like 4 or 5.
It
That's
felt
strong.
aggressive.
Yeah.
Or
Mhm.
like or you'd be like, you wouldn't hand me the book, but you'd be like, but I'm reading this great book with this great principle and like
Yeah.
everyone should read it. And I'd be like, I cannot take one more book. And I think it's great. And, and then this past year, Jim gave us all fake books
Oh yeah, I forgot about that with
for
candy in them
with
and lotto
candy and
tickets.
like
Yeah.
lotto tickets in them for Christmas.
Yeah.
But there was
And
a brief moment where I
you
was like,
groaned audibly, and
I
I was really excited about that. It was mission accomplished.
I did groan audibly when he handed me a book. I think I have read about half the books you gave me at this point,
Mhm.
but it took me a whole year
Yeah.
after, because also, if you're not like super in, or for me at least, I have
Yeah.
to be like super in the mood for like self help professional books because like they're dry. I'm not gonna lie. I think they're a little dry. So,
So here's the thing. Generally, 90% of my book reading is audiobook listening.
yes.
I'm doing chores around the house, I'm driving. That's when the easiest time for me is to read and consume books. So generally, if I have a book I really like, I then buy a few copies and give it to people or keep some. We're recently building the LodeStar library
Mhm,
that I'm really excited about with all of the assorted business books that we have throughout the office. So you'll be seeing more from that coming up.
mhm.
And the thing that I got specific feedback on is I'm the type of excitable person that'll read a book and then a good business book, I'll say, okay, this is wrong. I need to change everything. Right. And you
Mm.
can only really do that so many times for people to still listen to you. So our co-founder, David Spector, was very pointed around the time I had read this book a year ago of like, Jim, people are going to stop listening if you keep changing things so rapidly. So what I try
Mhm.
to do now is take elements of each book and implement them and slowly improve. So that's why the main element I took from this book was the 12-week time frame, which I think is great for the business. And then I do stuff for whatever I want personally with that. And if people think I'm a psycho for that, that's fine. So
I think it says a lot about the book though that you're still doing it a year later.
yeah, no, I'm
Like,
gonna keep doing it. It's what it's been really helpful with personally is it's a great way of turning kind of habits into things you do automatically. Right.
mhm.
Like there's things that I used to track during previous 12 weeks about number of steps in a day or how I'm eating or things like that, number of workouts. And I don't do that anymore because they become automatic. So I heard from a recent speaker um was listening to of if you suck at something, track it. And
Mm.
I've kind of been taking that to heart in this mindset. And you're scoring yourself. You can have scores every week. And it's a good way of kind of tracking progress. So very excited to talk about this and Jim's book club. I already looked at my shelves and I have like 5 more that I think
Mm.
we're going to be showing. So this was a good introduction to it.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Jim.
For our next segment here on the Full Disclosure podcast, we're still looking for an official title for this, but for now, it's just what grinds my gears. Anything bugging either of you lately? Anybody want to pull out a soapbox?
So I'm really excited for the fall. I like starting of school, football season,
Mm.
finally not being so hot and humid here in Philadelphia. But everyone jumps the gun on pumpkin anything. Like
Mm.
I'll have a pumpkin spice latte, I'll have a pumpkin beer, but it's mid August. I don't need to see pumpkin rolls
So you have an
right now.
issue with my reed diffuser behind you that smells like pumpkin
Yeah, a little
spice?
bit. I'm getting assaulted by it right over here. But yeah, I think it's just too soon for that. Like I understand that you have to make pumpkin beer like in June, right, for everything to be ready. But like there
Mm.
shouldn't be a pumpkin roll in the stores yet. Like I feel like it's you jump the gun. It feels like once 4th of July is over, like we're pretty much in the fall. The back to school commercials are starting too. Like no, like
That's
let's
fair.
let the summer run for a little bit, everyone.
Yeah. I mean, I'm an August birthday and my
As am
husband's
I.
and my husband's a school teacher.
Yeah.
So I think my problem is on the beginning of the month.
Fair. Yeah.
And so I'm like, it's fine. It's over
I'm
now.
like Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, that's late.
Yeah.
That's late.
Yeah. I want
You're trying to hold on to the
summer's
summer.
over the Monday of Labor Day weekend. Yeah.
Oh, see, my husband goes back to school next week.
Yeah.
Like, but by the time this releases, he will have been in school for 2 weeks, right?
Fair.
So like, I think that's a big difference for me is like, once he's like ramping up, I'm like, okay, it's over. We're done.
What I'm getting is you can learn a lot of the strength of somebody's principles by walking them through a grocery store in August if they buy the pumpkin spice cider, which, confession time, I 100% did last night.
Oh, if Downey's comes out with the pumpkin cider, you have to buy it early because it will sell out before October hits.
It's a temperature thing for me. If it's like above 70 degrees, I don't want anything pumpkin flavored.
That's very fair.
I mean, Jim, you're right, but also
Anything from you, Alayna?
When people don't label their buffets, it makes me really angry.
like at conferences.
Like at
Conference
conferences,
season coming up.
with conference season coming up,
Mm-hmm.
I am allergic to dairy, which is a hard allergy to have at a conference because everything has cheese or butter or anything. Label your food. Conference centers, label your food. If you're an event planner, make sure your food is labeled because I've gone to some big industry conferences and I won't make a thing. But if you make me fill out a dietary restrictions form and you don't have your food labeled, I have an issue. I have had to order sweet green at a trade show to a convention center because they didn't label their food and no one could get me an answer for 30 minutes. That is not okay when I pay $1,500 to go to an event. Feed me, please.
This is becoming my favorite
I've
segment.
the notes. Yeah.
We've shot this twice now, and both times you guys were like, "Oh, I don't really have anything that bums me out."
Yeah.
And then we end the segment with both of you guys giving like a glorious sermon, and I'm here
I'm
for it.
a really strong opinion about not being fed.
I can't top that. So
It makes me angry sometimes. And then people will be like, oh, this is all you're eating. And it's like, yeah, because I can only eat the boiled chicken breast and lettuce that doesn't have any dressing on it because all they gave me was ranch. It's just not good sometimes, guys. I'm not trying to not eat. I just can't. What if we just end it with a bunch of us spoofing on the full disclosure tagline? Full disclosure, we talk mostly about mortgage.
full disclosure, all of the fees and some of the tea.
Full disclosure, one pumpkin spice is the only reliable thing about your economy.
Full disclosure, because I can't believe we talked for 45 minutes and did not mention the Taylor Swift Travis Kelce interview.
Oh my God, it was so good.